you're at a game table, in your comfiest chair reading a book, or listening at home, there's nothing like a great adventure story. But they don't happen by accident. Welcome to the Joy of GMing, a special interview series on the craft of great gaming. There's just something magic about sitting down to a good table with great friends, isn't there? If you're a lifelong gamer or a newbie rolling up your first character sheet, if you're a DM or a GM or just can't get enough tabletop talk in your day, this is the show for you. Each episode will bring you amazing guest speakers to talk about writing games and running them, legends and lore of your favorite TTRPGs, and oh so useful tricks of the trade. Hear some amazing stories, get inspired for your next game, and join us for an hour and a half or so of lively conversation. This sister series to Narrative Feats, the tabletop anthology, will be released between episodes with our ongoing serialized show. We cover some making of and behind the scenes tidbits of our latest mod as well, so do stick around. I'm Casey Jones. Over the last dozen years, I've written and produced screenplays, children's animation for TV and film, graphic novels, stage plays, murder mysteries, and award-winning audio adventures. I've also been writing and running tabletop games for over 10 years. Join us as we dive deep into tabletop with experts in the field. Experts like our special guest today, Amy Vorpahl.
Yay!
Amy is an actor, a writer, and comedy content creator. With a background in sketch and improv, her dungeon mastering is delightfully silly. Known for her contagious laughter, Exhibit A, Amy has guested on Critical Role and Dimension 20, written for official D&D books, and served as the creative director for Alchemy RPG's Dark Symmetry. Her two music albums, Songs in the Key of D&D and Behold Her Dreams, were inspired by many characters and experiences at the table. Amy's comedy writing includes shows like Mothership and Sidekick with Matt Mira. She can be seen acting on TV shows such as The Newsroom and writing for Emmy-nominated Making a Scene with James Franco, and sold a half-hour sitcom to Hulu called Must Love Dragons. In the digital space, she's been a writer, a producer, and talent for platforms like Nerdist, Geek and Sundry, BuzzFeed, and Dropout TV. Amy, welcome to the show!
Hey! Oh, you reading that makes me want to edit my bio. Like, that's long. But I do have a document that has like 30 different bios, and so I try to choose the one that fits the best, and it's like, we might need another one. We might need 31.
I completely sympathize. So, welcome. You referred to yourself as a performance player and a performance DM. And as well as acknowledging your extensive background in improv and sketch comedy, can you tell our listeners how you took what you learned in improv and sketch and brought it to performance DMing?
Sure. You and I, it sounds like, have written across mediums, and people are like, I am of the persuasion that if you can write one thing, you can actually write all the things, because the main skill in writing is clarity and efficiency. And if you can get your ideas across quick and clear, like where people know what the hell you're actually saying, then that's it. Like whether it's a song or a joke or even a narration or game design, everyone wants you to get the thing, get to the verbs and the stuff, the fun stuff as soon as possible. So how do I bring it to GMing? I think GMing it's prep and improv, and that's it. So you're writing, it's not even necessarily writing, it's like it's the ideas part of writing, and then being able to be flexible when rubber hits the road. So in a lot of ways, it's easier than improv because you don't have to do it on the spot, and then like your idea, like you can front load some pretty good ideas, and then yeah, you just are improvising the whole
off to the races.
Yeah,
right.
like Don't tell anybody, but that's all you're doing the whole
We're
entire
just
time.
making it up as we go. Um,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I 100% relate to the whole being clear and efficient because
Yeah.
as a word nerd, I used to lean more heavily into the sesquipedian loquaciousness and realized that if I was dropping $5 and $10 words that nobody had an idea what the hell I was talking about, I would lose people. So from that point on, I wrote and spoke to be just easily understood. And I think
Yeah.
it's made a real difference just in connecting with people, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's, I think, I don't want to say like you have to not use the words that you like, but it is more of, y- y- like Tolkien got away with it. Like some people get away with
Mm.
all the descriptions and stuff, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times, what even in, we want to get to the verbs of it all. We want to get to like
Mm-hmm.
like playing the game, not waxing poetic on someone's what I say. This is from God. Some different experiences, different people, but you can't play lore. So like, stop writing your lore. Stop. Like have an idea, but you can't physically play it unless what happened 1,000 years ago is apropos to right now. And the
Mm.
only stuff in 1,000 years ago that is apropos right now, like that's it. That's all you have to do. You can do everything else. Just, I guess, don't trick yourself into thinking you're prepping for your game if what you're doing is writing lore and world building.
Mm-hmm.
Don't conflate the two. You're doing two
Mm-mm.
different things. But that's from yeah, just different experiences where you're like, that's so good, and you can be good at that, and that's its own little skill. Just don't confuse that you're actually not prepping for your session if you're doing that.
Well put. Well put. I'm going to remember that phrase. You can't play lore, which makes an absolute ton of sense. We've also heard the advice and given it before of like, don't walk your players through your novel. Like they need to be able to have choice and be able to dive in and get to the verbs, as you say. There is a point where you like reach saturation of, we get it. We know where we are. We're immersed. Can we get to do the things now that you've been telling us about for 2.5 or more minutes? Because like in addition to just spinning that story and pulling people in, we also need to give them the reins as soon as possible.
Yeah, I didn't know I would be so excited to talk about all of this, which shouldn't be a surprise. Like I should know that I'm excited to talk about this. But I say that game design is problem design. So you're actually not designing; you're just designing problems. like, and
That's
you're
true.
and you're just like, your job is hurdles that can be overcome, but it also isn't your job to overcome them. It's to let them overcome them. So if you are game designing, I mean, even in like cozy games like Animal Crossing or whatever, like you're design a problem that the characters can fix in their own way.
100%. 100%. I would vehemently, violently agree that game design is problem design, especially when we're working on something like the Sladium, where entire maps are nothing but death traps and alleys full of monsters and like twists and turns and opportunities to either find great loot or find opportunities to betray the people that are with you. And you say it so well of like, it's not, we don't have to come up with the solutions. We just come up with the problems and give them the tools to get the solutions themselves. And I've said this before with other about other players, but like I can pre-plan of like a handful of different solutions they might grab out of the various pieces, and then they'll ignore all of them and do something even more brilliant, which is just endlessly satisfying.
Yeah, that is my experience as well. I almost don't even try to. Do I try to have? I guess you do. You kind of can't help yourself solve your own puzzles, but also sometimes DMs will ask me like, "Hey, my." It's happened a number of times. Like we're a few months in, and my players aren't really motivated to do the things I'm putting in front of them. And
Mm.
my fix for that is like, well, how mean are you being? Not necessarily to them, but to the world. Like, is everything just okay? Like, if whether they do something or not, are people going to be fine? It's like, turn the lights off. The sun doesn't work anymore. Like, what, something, be mean, like, make the world be a problem, like, make more problems. Because if everything's just kind of okay and there's not, then yeah, there's not really a motivation to do anything. But you can motivate people by, being mean. Like, that's
100%.
how you get them to do things.
Absolutely.
God, case in point, God, be God.
Absolutely. Like, no matter what you're writing, whether it's a piece of fiction or a problem for your characters to solve, I have found one of the first things to nail down is understanding what the characters want. And by identifying what it is that, like, my table of 5 strangers want, besides getting out of Barovia in one piece, I can tug them in directions towards getting things done by giving them, like, oh, it reminds me of my personal vendetta against so-and-so, or
Sure, yeah.
that sounds like it might lead to my absentee father, to just give them that extra nudge down the road.
Yeah, I almost, like, these days, so I don't know if you know, but I taught a couple of sessions of my Dungeon Master school where I just give people what I do, basically, and then people take the class, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy that you're taking my class. But I can't play. Like, I know there is a sect of people who play TTRPGs for the mechanics of it, which I do wind up loving the mechanics, especially of D&D. I really love it, but I can't play without character. Like, I can't do it. I almost can't game design without character either. So yeah, I'm happy that you're bringing up how to lead via motivation.
Like, I've run tables for people who have never played a game before, and, like, for the first half hour or so, they might be, a little stilted, a little stiff with, like, my character does so and so. And, like, they're making choices, but they're not personal. They're not, like, getting into it. And that's when I start asking them questions of, like, you just saw your friend take somebody's head off. What is going through you right now? You just experienced blah, blah. What are you thinking in that moment? And, like, just by lulling them into getting into their character's headspace, that's when the connection happens and we have character and not just people with a character sheet, And by that point, they forget about, like, the mechanics that they have to worry about, and they just get into, well, can I do so-and-so? Is that too shenanigan? And I'm like, let's find out. Let's make it work. But yes, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is, can you tell us about your dungeon mastering school? That sounds really interesting.
Oh, hell yeah. This was an experiment. So this was, what year is it? We're 2025. So this was in 2024. I had just come off of running Goblin mode. And
Knack-Brecka rules.
Knack-Brecka rules. And I was like, this was such a cool experience. And I went through my own, imposter syndrome. And then I just came out going, like, God, I don't know if anyone feels like they could never, but I definitely have felt like I couldn't. Not me, surely that's not who you want. And then to go through it, be like, oh, wait, I can. And I don't, like, I have, years of experience improvising, writing sketch comedy, performing and acting, writing TV, like, and I don't know that in order to DM you need all of those things, but it sure helped me. So let me, like, disseminate, like, I want to see if I can teach what you need to dungeon master through the eyes of all of these things. And so someone doesn't feel like they have to have, the 20 years of entertainment experience in order to do their big thing. Because there's no way you need all of that. So it was just that. And it was very much, the other part of the experiment was, like, right now, the way people get reps is you gather your group together and you play for 4 hours, and that's a lot. So I wonder if I can even make that smaller and go, let's do reps in 15 minutes of you prepping something and then DMing for 15 minutes and just knowing what that feels like, and doing a combat, like a short combat, and seeing what that feels like. And so that was what the class wound up being. And I taught it again this year. So the first one was 12 classes long. This one was 8 classes long. And if I do it again, I'll do 10 classes, because there were some things that I was like, I can cut all this. And then people were like, oh, wasn't it fun when you did this class? And I was like, I cut that class. So the students who were all talking together didn't have it. And I was like, yeah, that was really fun. And I cut it because I didn't think it was necessary. They were like, no, but it was fun. And I'm like, yeah, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, I was trying to get to, like, you need to know, a militant almost, like, you need to know these things. And they were like, no, but this other thing, I refer to it all the time. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, oops on me. I can get pretty intense pretty quickly.
We are all our own worst critics.
Yeah. But it was so lovely. And the fun thing about it that came out, so about 10 people took the first class that wound up being, it was a beta version. But it was like, I would do 3 classes a month. And then the last week I would like pivot and do whatever I needed to do to the curriculum. And we did it for 4 months. And so that there were 12 classes. And then this next one was all done in, 8 weeks, 8 weeks, all done in 2 months. And I guess what I learned that I did not expect this to happen was these people got wildly close, and like the first cadre all went to Gen Con together and stayed together, and they're planning a trip for next year. And it's like, oh, nice. Oh, I did not realize I was going to, and now they started a podcast together. Like, it's very much like, oh, I shouldn't be surprised, because that's what improv classes do, but that is what happened. And so they formed their own little community, and that was really special. It wasn't what it's not one of those things that I thought, oh, this is what I'll promise you'll make best friends, and then they just kind of all turned into each other's best friends. It was so cool. That's
awesome. Yeah, and it sounds so organic too, which is lovely.
I think there's something to do with, like, if you're going to you're a certain type of person if you want to take a dungeon master class.
Preach.
And you're a certain type of person if you want to specifically take a dungeon master class from Amy Vorpahl. And it's like, you're very, it's like,
accurate.
I had a friend say, there's not a version in my brain that would ever think I needed a dungeon master class. Like, I would just do it. And I'm like, yeah, but I would have loved it. Like, me personally would have loved someone to walk me through just mindset and what to physically do, like checklists and just and reps. Like, I would have loved that. I think part of Dungeon Master, you're talking so much, you got to build a word bank of just shit that is in your, the bow and the stern of a shit. Like, there's some things that you just have to come out of your mouth, and so but anyway, so it was like the certain type of people who found it, took the class, we were all the same person. So it was nice.
That's wonderful. So was this remote? Was this in person?
Yeah, it was over Zoom. Okay. And there were even, I guess, the people who were furthest away, there were a couple of Saudi Arabians who took it, and they're starting their own like actual play YouTube now too.
That's awesome.
So yeah, very cool. Really, really, like, I keep trying to chant. I'm like, these, I feel like I can't take credit for how excellent these people are. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they pass through my class. And so I'm just like, yes, look, go forth and do. This is amazing.
I think it's a perfectly natural to recognize and, like, put aside, quote unquote, any kind of credit for what the students are able to accomplish. But nevertheless, you are the one that aligned them in technique and mindset to the point where they could start, throwing hands and dice and things and, like, watching sparks leap off their fingers. So that's really cool.
I think a lot of the classes, we do it together on Zoom. So it is like performance, or like someone's watching in class. And then I also have assignments that are, do that and record it and send it to me, and I'll look at it and like watch for patterns or whatever that I think is happening. And so I mean, it's like it's a lot of work for them. It's a lot of work for them, and it's a lot of work for me too, because the second round had 16 people enrolled, and so I was watching, and I always tell them, please limit it to 15 minutes just for what I can handle. And guys, when you do, like you plan a 3-hour session, you're going to do a 6-hour session. But yeah, they go to 20, 25 minutes. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch it. But anyway, because so much of it was recorded and presented, so many people got the reps. So many people started posting on social media. And I think there was, I'm so used to being on camera that I didn't realize that was another bonus too, that like, oh, I thought we were all good with it. We all just record ourselves, right? And that's okay. And there were so many people with performance anxiety, and I was like, oh yeah, well, get over it, because that's what being a DM is. And so people got over it and started posting on social media, really fun stuff too, not just face to camera. Like they started expressing themselves. So it was really, God, it was just so great. I really love that the experiment worked and fed me as much as it did them too. So
I sound like a broken record, but that's flipping cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I think so too.
There's just that wonderful feedback loop of they feel better about themselves because they've been empowered to express themselves, and you feel fulfilled because you've watched them undertake something with intention and pull it off and start to come out of shells, perchance.
Yes,
that's magic. That's magic.
Yeah, one student said, sometimes you just need someone you look up to tell you you're doing a good job. And I'm like, hey, yeah. Or yes, we are the same person. Yes, 100%.
But yeah, no, I think there's something really wise about building a curriculum around things I wish I'd known, especially with something with as much nuance and technique that can be involved with dungeon mastery, which is just awesome. So before we go any further, please tell our audiences all about your upcoming musical show, She's Got Non-Player Character Energy. I've already chipped in on the Kickstarter. I hope our listeners can do the same. But by all means, give us the spiel. Tell us what it's about. Tell us where the idea came from, where you're taking it, all of the things.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you. So this was an idea I had like 5 years ago, and I did a reading of it last December, and I would say I had maybe 3. I had more songs, whatever. It was, I didn't. God, how did this come to be? It's like I just got tired of not having it in the world. I guess that's it. Not doing it wore me down, and I just realized, wow, I can really keep not doing this. Like this is fine. Like my life is fine without it. And so I'll just keep going. And I was like, yeah, but I kind of owe it to myself to try and make this. And then the Kickstarter was born of just, I had done a Kickstarter before, and there's something about being a little bit surveilled. Like now I have accountability and a deadline, and so what it is, it's a story, it's a narrative musical where I'm going to play all the parts about a non-player character who is just an idea in the Dungeon Master's brain, just like all the other NPCs there. Everyone is just an idea in the Dungeon Master's brain, and boy, do they want to get put into the game. And everyone knows that that's the hierarchy here. Like if you're in the game, you're wanted, you're chosen, the Dungeon Master wants you, the players interact with you. There's something special about that. And then there are some that just don't ever get used. They just remain ideas. And so our lead character is like, I'm going to get put into the game. And I'm not going to be just like a Kevin, Jeff, Steve, Bob, who just like materializes. I'm going to be prepped. I'm going to be like the best NPC. There's a whole song about how she's going to learn to kind of be every NPC. Bless you. but she's like gonna learn all the skills, and she even says like, I'm gonna learn how to change my species. Oh no, that's the one thing I won't do. I won't change I'll just be a human lady, and that's right. We don't need me to change my species. Okay, great. So it's like she'll do everything. She'll like pretzel herself into so many different ways, and then in the end, like, spoiler alert, halfway through she gets into the game, and then she gets killed because she's so random and wild, and the dungeon master wields her poorly, and she discovers that she's a one-off character. So what does that mean? And that'll be that's the second act. It's just an hour long, but it's like, God, how do you come to grips with like, God, being chosen's great, and it also can't, like, you can't be chosen every second of your life. So what do you do in the meantime? Like, who are you in the meantime? Being chosen is a wonderful thing to have happen. And I hate the term choosing yourself, because I no longer know what the fuck that means. I think it's been overused, but it is like, who are you? What do you stand for? And how is that manifested in your life? And so it's the second act is a little more serious, but it just goes into those themes. And I don't know, that's just what's kind of been on my mind, being in the entertainment industry in general. I know one of the reasons I haven't done this show is because it's scary. It's hard to say. It's hard when you're not chosen, like, yes, I'm chosen in so many avenues, but the entertainment industry has gone down, and ways that I have earned a living before aren't the same anymore. And I have made that mean something about myself when that's not rational or helpful. And it's scary to say any of that. Like, you want to put on the face that, like, I'm fine. Look, I'm fine, and I don't need you. And look, I'm not desperate at all. And when in reality, the industry is such that you can't help it. So
no.
But as I tell more and more people, I'm realizing I'm not this, like, insane person who just needs a lot of therapy. It's like, no, the design of our world is this, which is great. And then also you do have to kind of have your own back too. But for a long time, God, I don't know if this was your experience, but things were fine. Like, I was fine. and then the last 4 or 5 years have been really different. So yeah.
A couple of things. Number one, you are not crazy. The working definition I use of crazy is someone that tries the same thing over and over again, expecting the same result, and that is clearly not you. Just on the bio alone, to say nothing of the writing you've done.
You pivot too often to be crazy, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's the word of the year, the pivot.
Pivot, yes, oh boy.
But you do bring up an interesting thing that, as creatives, especially creatives in Hollywood, that a lot of us may have gone through or are going through. And I'd like to share, if I can, a perspective shift that I experienced that helped me. Because when I got here about 7-8 years ago, I was ghostwriting a lot. I was hired to be writing, and I was also devoting time to my own pilot scripts or feature scripts and things like that, and would go to like networking events and things and have this very transactional headspace of, well, I'm going to introduce myself to this person, and they're going to see how I can be helpful to them, and they're going to see that they can be helpful to me, and we're going to be, and I guess we'll become friends. If that happens by accident, great. And did not get anywhere for years, and did not know exactly what it was I was doing wrong. And all through this time, I was, like yourself, trying different things. I was writing screenplays. I was writing television. I was writing murder mysteries. I wrote a intergrade of like the characters like 12, and like learned different things from all of these different types of writing and things. But the approach of like, I've got this script, I have this need because I need so-and-so in order to execute it. And there is that whiff of neediness, of like desperation, I think was the word. But like, please help me, because I can't do this alone. And I stopped thinking like that. I leaned more into dungeon mastery, went pro, and leaned into game design, and have been building an audience over the last year and change now with a different headspace of not at all come see this thing that I need you to be involved in. It's I'm making something awesome. I think you would enjoy it. Come give it a try. And
it's the energy of the party's here. Whether you are here or not, the party will be great. But if you want to come to a cool party, you're welcome. Yeah.
Exactly. And that shift has made all the difference. Like, metaphorical doors are opening in my life and career because of that perception shift, and also just a change in what I am doing. And to our listeners that are creatives that either are in LA or aspire to be there, and like God knows there are enough types of writing careers that don't require you to have proximity to major fault lines. Do the thing. And if it's not working, try a slightly different version of the thing. And then try another one, and then try another one. Like, if you don't feel like you're getting somewhere with what you're doing, shake it up. Try a different version, because you may be like just 10 short degrees away from a version of what you want to do that really works. And I remember clinging to this idea for the longest time of like, well, I'm a screenwriter. I know what I am, and I need to make my money this way, and I need to identify myself this way. And the more I was able to let go of that narrow alley of like, well, I know what I'm doing. I know who I am. I know what I have to do to make a living, and open up to other opportunities, I have started to flourish. And that has felt really hecking good. And I want our audience to be able to share in a similar experience so that they don't just keep hitting their heads against the wall, trying the same thing over and over again and not getting anywhere, you know?
Yeah. I think I don't have really anything to add to that. That's amazing. That's really sweet advice, and it's very wholehearted advice. And I know that not everyone is out here trying to be a face of something, like I am a person who needs to be on a stage and needs to sing a song and have applause. Like that is someone who I just know that, like, you got to feed the beast, and that beast is loud sometimes. So but I know that not everyone has that, and it's just but it doesn't matter, like what you like, whatever you're doing. Like, creativity is enough for enough's sake. I will say, and I have been disagreed with this, but I wholeheartedly believe this, that if you don't extrovert your art, you actually are a taker. You have taker energy, because it is a gift. And if you are withholding it out of fear, which normally that's what it is, or another reason, that's taker energy. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you don't necessarily have to do it on social media, but if you don't share your art with people, I guess the only argument that I've heard is just like, what if I make it for myself? And I still default to my thing. Like, that's taker energy, man. You've been given a gift. Like, why? Just because you if you can heal someone, if you heal yourself, do you think you've done enough? Don't you think you should go out and heal other people? That's what I think. That I just really like. That's the metaphor, and obviously it's like pretty intense and diabolical, but it's how it truly is how I feel. And I've been on the receiving end of my own advice too. Like, just, you have to, like, you what are you doing? You're just gonna keep this to yourself, you selfish person.
Can you expand on that? You call it taker energy, and while I have an idea of what taker energy means, if someone is just keeping all their creativity and stuff to themselves, what are they taking?
Well, like when there is a lack of or like the opposite of, I mean, God, I don't know. The opposite of giving is taking. The opposite of having a thing is like the negative space Hoarding. That it creates if it weren't there. So it's like, yeah, you are physic. I mean, it's so intense. I can't believe I'm saying this in public. I say this like to my community, but I guess since I believe it, I may as well say it, that like, you are, yes, obviously you're hoarding. You're not putting something out where there could be.
Sure.
I believe that whatever you do is a permission slip for other people to do the same. So whatever. Like, so if you are withholding your art, you are giving permission for other people to withhold their art. If you are being out there and being bright and shiny, you are a permission slip that it's safe and fine and good to be bright and shiny. And so if you hold on to your stuff, now others are holding on to their stuff, and now it's just a downhill spiral where we're people who may not necessarily see you or watch you. Like, the energy though is that oh, I can just take, I can take from the world. I feel like I don't know, it's a bad explanation because I know it's so much metaphor, but it does feel like you're taking from the world and not giving back. It's an imbalance.
I get that. I'm picking up on it. I do feel like it was reasonably well explained. I'm gonna go one step further and say, beyond the hypothetical of like, you have the option of giving back and sharing your creativity, I am giving you permission, if permission needs to be given, to go out and do the thing. You have the blessing of someone you've never met. Bully. You have the encouragement, if not the impetus, to go and do the thing. Make it happen, because no one else is going to do it for you. That is another thing I've learned the hard way.
Cavalry's not coming to save you, unfortunately.
No.
Which I spent a long time in my life thinking that they would. They don't, though, as it turns out.
No, Gondor can call for aid, but the wizard and the backup aren't coming until you can prove you don't need them, which is an irony of itself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Thank you for talking to me in words that I understand.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. This is another thing that that can help our DMs, but like, if you talk with someone and they start showing you who they are with their sense of humor, with the vocabulary, you can mirror that back to them and have more of a resonance as you get on the same wavelength with one another, of like, oh, we are speaking the same language and the same dialect and everything like that. And it can be done by accident, and it can be done with intention. But you're 100% welcome. You're absolutely welcome.
Yes. I don't know why this reminded me of another thing that I really like talking about is comedy. And what funny is / sense of humor. Because it is, a lot of people, especially, this comes up in like dating advice a lot too, just because people are always like, I want someone funny. And like, or I want someone with a good sense of humor. And that can be so subjective, but what it's like what you're not actually, so you know, because everyone knows that that's what people want, is they're like, fuck, now I got to go learn how to be funny. And it's like, no, you actually, it's not, that language is, it's semantics, but what everyone's talking about is delight, actually. And like, when stand-ups are very funny, or joke writers are very funny, like what you're tapping into, why you are able to laugh together or whatever, is someone who is willing to delight and willing to be delighted. And even that's still subjective, but at least it doesn't require training. And I don't actually believe that funny necessarily requires training. There's ever, like, for anybody, I think everybody's funny, but like but that's because we have this natural sense of play, and we basically, when we're talking to each other, we just want to go like, hey, want to play? Do you want to play? Do you want to play right now? Would you play with me? Like, and that I think can take a lot of pressure off if you just don't think of the word of the words as funny, or like the dungeon master has to be funny, or I want to create a funny experience where everyone's laughing. It's like, change it to delight. Just change it to delight.
My favorite definition of laughter is a smile you cannot keep to yourself. And to hear you inject delight as the cause of that clicks for me. So 100% agreement there.
But don't you think it can sound very like, oh my God, funny sounds hard somehow. Funny sounds like dance monkey dance. Funny sounds like God, a switch that you have to flip on. Whereas
Funny
delight,
makes people nervous because it has so many definitions to so many different people because of how subjective it can be.
yes,
Delight, I know what delight is.
it's a way of being. Like you can generate delight. You can generate delight by like action in the world, almost doing nothing and just being delight. Like you can decide to delight. Like it's just a decision.
You can be full of delight and become delightful.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Outstanding. So, on the topic of delightful things, in addition to all this amazing comedy work, you've also written for official D&D books like Candlekeep Mysteries and Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. You've written RPG adventures. How did you venture into that, and what did you learn as you did it?
I had written a couple of adventures for my friend David Crennan, who runs and owns Dungeon in a Box, which is a service that I just recommend for everybody, especially new DMs. Every month you get a full adventure and everything you need to run it, including maps and minis, and
sick.
At a very, very affordable price, like I think $25-$30 a month.
Bespoke dungeon adventures can be yours.
Yes. I had written one for him, and then I wrote another, and then this is all over the course of maybe like a couple of years, this whole tale. And then Chris Perkins tweeted, who I had met and played a game with at a con on camera, but he had tweeted like, hey, anyone out here in my circle have experience writing adventures? And I just responded, I have written a couple. And then about a year later, I got an email that was like, would you write an adventure for us? And I was like, do you have the right email address? Like this Amy?
Are you you mean Amy Vorpahl, not Amy Dorpahl or Mordal?
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of us.
Yeah, it was this lovely man named Bill, and he was like, no, we want you. And so it just was like, and then I submitted my idea, actually the word, God, I still keep this. He was like, this sounds delightful, which is crazy to think about that we've just had that discussion. But his, like Chris Perkins, like review of my pitch was, this sounds delightful, start writing it. Isn't that crazy? And then
I think it makes perfect sense.
And then I wrote it, and then I got it. And then I got basically a lot of notes back that were basically a page one rewrite, and I couldn't look at it for a week because it hurt my feelings so much. And then when I did look at it, it was almost like a boot camp in how to write an adventure. Like the way that he dissected everything, I was like, oh, got it. The big shift for me was that you're writing an IKEA manual. You're not writing a story.
No, so you're absolutely right.
So it's like your mystery, everything you think is fun about your adventure, you need to say in the first 4 sentences, because the dungeon master needs to know what's fun, where the twists and turns are, and they need to know it now. Because they're going to be the ones obscuring the veil for the players. But I had written it. There were so many things wrong with the way I wrote it. I had been like, I don't know if the guys in this room, then this is going to happen. And he's like, if the guys, no, like the mindset was when you're writing, you have to be finite so that the dungeon master can be infinite and do the improv. And that is so less fun. I will say, like, right, it's so much less fun to write adventures than to play them. But you do have to be crystal clear, and you have to make definitive decisions without hypotheticals, minus the end and the aftermath and all of that. There can be some caveats, but it's like you have to be so specific and finite about this. These people are here. This is what they do. This is the building, scaffolding, whatever. And then the dungeon master can do what you do, which is take what you need and spit out the bones and
fill in the rest.
And I didn't like it, but it has helped my DMing actually, because it made me go like, oh, I have to make decisions, and then like I make a decision and then I release the wheel to the players, and then I make the next decision and release the wheel. As opposed to, I think I don't know how I was doing it beforehand, but it felt It feels good now. I didn't like writing it. I like having written it, and now I actually do like writing adventures because I see, the macro has grown and the beautiful mind of it all. You can zoom in and zoom out and be like, I think this is what I would do with it, but I can only write this down and just, leave it alone and let them go. And the reason is because you don't have access, as you're writing, you don't have access to player characters, and they're the main characters. So you can't write story because you don't have access to the main characters. How the fuck are you going to write story without main characters? So you just have to write up the IKEA manual that the characters interact with.
I think that depends. I know it might have been a rhetorical question, but I honestly think that depends on the setting and the nature of the adventure in question. Because my experience has been that you can set up a scenario where no matter which characters are put into it, they're going to have the same goal of either get the hell off this island or get the hell out of this fighting tournament. Like, those are the two primary ones. But also, like, having run certain modules I've written for, like, Doctor Who or D&D and run them a number of times and seen how characters, like, materialize in their TARDIS and step out and discover the same things, the same gingerbread crumbs that are around to lead them to make similar decisions as the people before them, even though they can make delightful choices along the way that surprise the hell out of me, and I'm smiling just thinking about it.
Yeah, that that's definitely, with some caveats. But the flip of the switch was definitely like, I can't bury leads. I can't I can't expect these things, to happen. If towards the end I can pick one of three paths and hope one of those three things is decided on, and give some aftermath of that, and then otherwise it is a scaffolding for them to feel like they're pushing the buttons and ideally trying to break things. I will say in the Candlekeep one, there's a big thing, a big reveal, and have you read it, by the way, or do you know what I'm talking about?
I've glanced at it. It's on my pile.
No worries.
It's okay.
No worries.
I mean, I'm a DM. It's going to be a spoiler when I try to run it anyway. So please, by all means.
But for those listening or watching, anyway, there's a big reveal, and there's a magic item that would severely inhibit this reveal, like that, like end the game kind of. And I put it in my adventure because I was like, fuck it, let's put the thing in that breaks the game because I like that. And they took it out, and so it's not in there anymore. And anytime I run it, I put it back in because I'm like, what? What's the worst that could happen is, it breaks the game, but that doesn't mean the story's over. And I like when that happens. I like giving them the thing that makes them feel like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna be a little stinker. And I'm like, yeah, be a little stinker, I'll figure something out. But they took it out.
More fools them for limiting your input. But honestly, like, if you're running a table and they're having fun, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate takeaway.
Yeah. And then the Fizban's thing came about because they were looking for someone. They were like, who would have, because what I wrote in Fizban's was the flavor text of, like, what I called wizard tweets, like what Fizban wrote. And so I played the character Fizban. And they thought of me because they were like, who would be good at comedy? Because Fizban's kind of a comedic character. And they got little old me to fill in the gaps.
Who's good at delight?
Who's good at delight? Oh my god, might be me. But yeah,
that needs to go into one of the bios of, like, an expert at delight.
Yeah, although that might be a high promise. I mean, I know that is, like, who I am, but I can't. You want to
leave yourself some room to surprise them.
Yeah, under promise, over deliver. Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay.
If requested, can do delight. Yeah.
Delight available on request.
And then the shruggy emoji. Yeah, then just
right?
Like.
Value of delight may be subjective.
Yes, exactly.
So I did want to mention your song IDM. It
Oh yeah.
may have become like a song of power for me.
Let's
So just
go.
putting it
Let's
there.
go.
No, absolutely.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you get it. You just get it. It's magical. Rest assured, we will be putting links to all of these things in the doobly-doo, listeners and viewers. So you will be able to click on a thing and go to the song IDM, which is delightful. I actually shared it with my Discord earlier today of like, y'all need to hear this. This is for all my DMs. Go.
Oh, thank you.
I like sharing good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. That was on my latest album, and that was the song I put the most intention behind. I don't want to say it was like it wound up. It's hard to tell like how long things take, but it was the one that I was like, I need a DM's anthem, because I had written on my first album the DM's Lament, which is just all the gripes and grievances of DMs, and that one did really well. But I was like, you're choosing to be, it's leadership, so you're choosing to be a leader, and that's really great. Like, the world needs more leaders. The world definitely needs fewer reluctant leaders, and more people like stepping in their own power and saying like, it, not in a toxic way, but going, yeah, I'm a leader, and I have something to give, and if there's something, I don't know, it was a lot about my journey, and I was like, well, this could, because you can't create without the demons, you can't like grow without the growing pains, and so I really did want a celebratory anthem that's like, screw y'all, I'm just gonna do it my way.
Which honestly can be the best way. No, you're absolutely welcome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what? Creating out of spite is still creating, so I say that to myself a lot too.
Very much. Like,
prove the haters wrong. Prove them wrong.
Not only prove the haters wrong, but prove your own past insecurities wrong. There's this wonderful book, The Alter Ego Effect, author's name TBD because I cannot remember. But basically it's about adopting the headspace of a character you connect with so that you can do things that you and your primary headspace don't think you can do.
Oh my God, that's so anime, isn't it? It's very anime point of view.
It is a very anime point of view. It is also like a real life thing people have done. Bo, I want to say Jackson, was the football player who also had a career in baseball. So
now we're getting into territory I truly know nothing about.
I'll keep it short. It's just an alcove. But the author of this book was a professional coach, not only for athletes, but for, business owners and things like that. And he sat down with Bo and said, okay, you've had record-breaking numbers of touchdowns. How did you do it? And Bo looked him in the eye and says, that wasn't me. That was Jason Voorhees. And like the controlled rage of the hockey mask wearing killer from all the Friday the 13th movies, who can break people in half, storm through doors, show up behind you at a moment's notice, was all perfectly controlled and nothing could stop him. So Bo internalized that character of, I'm going to use the exact right amount of force I need to be unstoppable, to push these things out of my way and not kill them, to just plow right through. And that stayed with me, so that when, after doing some soul searching and getting past certain internal blocks of like, oh, I don't really get to have that, or I shouldn't really be putting myself forward in that way, I finally asked myself, like, okay, if we are genuinely trying to impress ourselves, what does that look like and who do we consult? And my inner mastermind, this criminal mastermind with experience building empires and entertaining people to death and things like that, was like, I'll help. And he became the architect of what I'm working on now. And he just didn't stop. Because like where I might say, that's good, he's like, there's never good enough. There is never enough. We must always keep pushing. We must always keep pressing. We must always be advancing the line. and just kept building and building and building. I'm like, holy crap. It's like, yes, I know. You did that. Now let's do some more. And like that headspace of the ambitious inner mastermind has been a huge help with like
That's
writing
amazing.
the things I didn't think I could do, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying you've got to be a little bit sociopathic. Got it.
Yeah, just a soup song. A soup song of sociopath.
I love it. Oh, that's so great. What a good practice.
Absolutely.
I'll have to figure out who my person is.
I mean, I'm sure you've played her, him, or them at some point. There's got to be one of those dozens of voices in there that, like, you know what? This gives me an idea. An evil idea.
Yes.
Etc.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So while we have you, I admit to being incredibly curious. What was it like in the Dome? What was it like playing in games like Escape from the Blood Keep? What was it like running your own season of Geek and Sundry with Nerdist where Knack Brecca rules? Like, tell us, share that singular experience that only a handful of people have had, because I'm dying to know.
I mean, everything you're imagining is correct. Like it was so good. I swear to God, it was like, you know, after Goblin Mode, after that season was over, I literally hired a life coach because I was like, whatever that was, I want more of it. Whatever it was, I need to do more of it because it was manna from God. Like I will say, doing Escape from the Blood Keep, we were the first
side quest.
We were the first side quest. Also, you know, little known fact, probably maybe more widely known, but I knew Brennan because he was the actually question writer when I was on the couch many seasons. And so in the time that I've known him, he's like, you know, become, I mean, he's always been that person, but it was very,
now other people know him.
Now, yeah. And the reason, there was this moment after one actually episode where it was me, Mercer, Murph, and I think, and then Trap and Brennan, but it was all of us standing at the elevators waiting to go to our car parking lot, and we just stood there. Like, we didn't go on the elevator because we were like, wow, you love D&D so much, and we were just having like the nerdiest D&D conversation. It was just like passionate nerds who had known of each other but didn't know that like our love of it went so deep, and it was really magical. So the fact that we were all playing that one game, I look back on that as like, wow, I took that for granted. I had no idea what I had at the moment, and it was amazing to be at a table like with Brennan running the game, but it was also amazing to be it was definitely, I also feel like we got to play the campaign that Brennan had been sitting on for 25 years. You know, like he had probably imagined that concept and had that plan for a while.
100%.
That's how it felt. And so to be a part of that, I definitely think I didn't know. You know, you just don't know until later. And then the just the superstars at the table who were involved in the storytelling as well were like, oh my God, like really, truly the best of the best. So I don't know, magical. And I think in that moment, I from my just hindsight, I definitely took it for granted and did not know what we had. And then Goblin Mode was, I think, not my first time. It was my first time DMing on camera for 20 episodes. Like, that's true. It wasn't my first time DMing. It was my first time DMing on camera, but it was my first time being responsible for a whole ass thing. And do you know what I mean, though? Like, I do. I had done home games. Had I done home games longer than that as a DM? Maybe, but like that even is a little different. And this felt like show running, man. Like it was so cool and good. And I really liked where we landed. I really like just the stuff I don't know, just made myself do. We had, and the wrenches that were thrown, like, hey Amy, tomorrow we're adding one of these guests. Can you add a guest? And I'm like, yep, Yep.
Can
And
now.
we can make it about that. We can like give them a lot of play space too. And the emails I would send to these guests that were so like almost too much information, and it was all wonderful. Like I really did hire a life coach and was like, hey, this was great. How do I live my
I want
life
more
in
of
this
that.
mode? Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, no, couple of things. Number one, I have had similar experiences on stage with a theatrical production where everyone brought their A game and everyone was perfectly selected for their role or their job or their position. So like there was that confluence of like everyone is just perfectly suited for exactly where they are, and then it is over and you feel that like, oh my god, that really was something special, wasn't it? And like you sit and you're like, number one, am I ever going to recapture that again? Number two, what is that going to be like when it does? Will I recognize it when it happens again? So like I think there's something of a shared experience there. The other thing I wanted to say, as someone who has written entire seasons of television, produced or otherwise, and had to build the arc and had to lay out, okay, this is going to happen so that B can happen, so that C can happen, so that D reminds people of A, and then E and F and G. And like have the short range, keep one eye on the short range, on the short term of like, okay, here's what is going to happen today versus here's where we are leading to 3 months from now. And to be able to turn that into game writing, to turn that into a season of an actual play, and give that to players to explore, to run around in, to fail sometimes, and reckon with like, oh, the planet's blown up. Okay, well, holy shit. Okay. And then have that stay with them the rest of the season of like, because of your actions, you did not stop a planet from blowing up. People died because of choices you made and did not make, and that impacted their choices the rest of the I say season because it was a season. But like, if our listeners and our viewers, if you're going to commit to like building out either a season of an actual play or even a campaign with a start and a middle and an end and things, like it is tricky. Because on the one hand, you're not writing a novel. You cannot dictate start to finish what is going to happen because your players, if they know what they're doing, will surprise you. That's half the fun. But like, to come up with like a dozen to 20 of these open-ended things and like, well, this is going to lead us in that direction, I hope, which will lead us in that direction, I hope, which will lead us in that direction, I hope. It is a juggling act of its own that is just freaking delightful. It's just freaking delightful.
As far as advice goes, if you do like, because for God, the one thing I will say that you can do that will be in your favor, if you can't really see the forest through the trees, decide the macro, decide where you think maybe it'll end up, and then decide geographies. If you just decide geographies, environments, that'll help, because then you'll just know that, oh, if they didn't go that, we'll move, and then choose what was I gonna say? Yeah, macro, geographies. Oh, and then for every, like, figure out a fraction you like. For me, it's kind of 1/6. So at 1 out of every 6 episodes or a chunk that you think you have to prep, one of them don't. That's a freebie, and you don't know how you're going to use it. You don't even plan, because you're going to need it, like if you need it to be episodic in a certain way, like one you should leave blank in case of emergency or in case of shopping montage, or like in case of like following what really is fun, where they feel like this is uncharted territory. There's always a way to get back on track, but I to me it's like you write it down, you feel like it's sacred, and if you don't write it down, then it isn't. And it was always really helpful to be like, we'll do what we do, like it doesn't have to be. And I will say these episodes were like shoot for 2 hours to be edited down to an hour and a half. So
Mhm.
it wasn't like, 6 hours or anything like that. But
Don't know anybody that does shows like that.
oh, yeah,
6 hour
yeah.
runtime.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, you might need to prep. But hey, that's interesting. I might ask you the same question. My friend is DMing and he was like, "Hey, do you prep 2 hours for every 1 hour of game time?" And I was like, "Not in a million years. I think I just on average prep for 2 hours, and that can get me through kind of anything. Just but I also understand that my knowledge of what the game is and how time works and what people will spend time doing is like I just have experience with that. So but I'm curious, do you have I was like, who's telling you to prep for 2 hours for 1 hour of, like, I guess if you need to learn the rules, that's what I would spend the extra hour doing, is like learning rules if I didn't know them. But beyond that, why would you like I don't know why you would prep for 2 hours for 1 hour of game time.
I don't prep for a given set of time. I prep for beats. There's a wonderful model of gameplay I'm going to bring up because I'm running a game later today, where it's not a question of how much time are we playing in, because I run games that last 3 hours. I run games that last 4. And in both cases, they start with situation number 1, they move on to event number 1, they slip into situation number 2, they get into event number 2, they find themselves in situation number 3, and somewhere in all of this mix, there has been combat, one hopes, which leads to an ending where either they've learned something, accomplished something, failed something, or wound up in a cliffhanger, because I am a sucker for cliffhangers. But like, I run games several times a week that are 3 hours and will come in for a landing right at that 3 hour spot of like, and that is where we're going to pause you today in Waterdeep Dragon Heist. And like, and that is when you feel the dagger sticking into your back in the Barovian alleyway, and we'll see you next week. And like, maybe it's just years upon years of doing it, but like, I go for beats so that when I have my table and I
do
play
too,
with them,
but what does the time look like? Because he was specifically asking how much time does it take you to prep? Like per hour of gameplay. And I was like, that doesn't I don't have a this to this ratio. It just normally takes me about 2 hours regardless, whether I'm homebrewing everything or I'm reading, the Curse of Strahd, and trying to memorize these goddamn like NPCs and all of their similar sounding names. Like, it all merges into about 2 hours for me. But okay. Do you have like this much prep equals this much, or do you have you timed it?
I use Pomodoros. I use Pomodoros of like a 50-minute window of concentrated effort where I'm not checking my mail, I'm not on Discord, I'm not wasting time on Reddit, and just spend 50 minutes on a thing, take a 10-minute break, and then do another hour. Typically at this point, I can get through prep for a game of something that is someone else's work, like Waterdeep or Curse of Strahd, and be done in a 50-minute window and have the recap so that our players know where they were and get back into the zone. Have that 6 or 7 layout of event, situation, event, situation, event, situation. Okay. And make sure the maps are populated with the monsters they could run into or NPCs they could run into. Make sure the music is set up so that I know what I can click on, because I love immersion. But here's what I freaking love. There's also the things I homebrew, and I use permanent prep, where, for instance, with the Sladium, we have 20 of these different arenas with different environments, like the Wintry Wasteland or the Jurassic Jungle or the Crushing Caverns, for instance. And for each of those, there are 5 ways in. There are monsters in any given wedge of that experience they can run into, and based on the player's choices, they're going to go into one of those. But because I have set these things up and gotten the maps ready and gotten the soundtracks ready and everything like that, I only need 10 minutes at most to prep for a 4-hour game of the Sladium, if it's a one-off. And it's just like, okay, you're going into Minotaur's Maze number 3 today. We'll go with. Go have fun. Here are your NPCs to play with. Here are the routes you can choose from and have a different experience every time. But by coming up with permanent prep that I can come back to again and again, I save myself some time.
That's very cool. Yeah, I don't have anything like that. So I wonder, because I spend most of my time, whether it's a one-shot or not, I'll do my own kind of... I can't help myself, but I'll do my own encounter design, and it'll always be like you choose, but it's like always 3-tiered. It's like the fight, the secondary objective, the tertiary objective, and they all might work together or not, or just like ways to end the battle early, or ways for them to feel like they're sneaky when really like you knew that was possible the whole time, or like just things that are, because I'm realizing, I don't know, I don't even know what tell me this, because I'm speaking about D&D, but I have to play this game with 18th level characters, and I looked at all their character sheets, and I'm like, I don't think higher levels equals higher fun. And maybe I'm a fucking like grognard person, but I'm like, less a grognard. Actually, maybe I'm just like a story whore, and I'm like, or like a role.
We're all for story. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, but it's like these extra mechanics. Like, I don't know. There's like a wizard spell that basically is just like, I know everything. Like, you just cast it and you just know everything, and you're like,
omniscience.
Okay. Is it omniscience? I never remember what it is. But it's
that's
like
just the word that means I know everything.
Yeah. Oh, totally. But it's just like the dungeon master just has to tell you what the heck is going on, and you're like, okay, including puzzles, like including the answers.
Sounds really boring.
I know, but that's what I mean. It's like, I don't think higher levels equals higher fun. And okay, great, we're in agreement. Okay, great. I was just having this conversation with another DM, and it was like, yeah, like I know we want to level up and all of that, but there gets to a point where you're like, well, if you can just change the thing I prepped to be, like, instead of playing in this layer, now we're in the clouds, and this is where we are now, and it's your home base. Okay, I guess you can just do that now, and fine. Okay, let's do it your way, and I guess you'll completely win. But wow. I hope you feel special.
Like, on the question of do they have more fun, like, I've got one player who plays in a couple of different games and have, through character craft, come up with PCs that avoid 90% of the damage they would otherwise take, roll obscenely high, have backup hits, and makes flurry of blows look like a brush against the shoulder and things. And like, they're constantly explaining why the thing didn't hit them, or the trap didn't work, etc., because of like things they've come up with on their sheet,
honestly, go to therapy.
Are you having fun? Like, because it doesn't sound like they explain the thing and I'm like, okay, and move on. Number one, they seem to be having the most fun when I challenge them anyway, where the thing they are counting on does not work, or the thing they left behind to come back to is not there anymore. Like, that's when they get more engaged, when they are legit challenged again. Like, when I'm running the Sladium, they start out at level 10. So that they've got some juice. Okay. They can do some things. They can do some fun things. Their characters are built, so that, number one, it's not going to be an instant slaughter fest. I enjoy faster purple worm kill, but like, I don't want it to be a foregone conclusion that everyone will die. So like, level 10 is a nice round number where, like, yeah, they've got a good chance. They've got great HP. They've got some wonderful spells and skills and feats and things up their sleeves. Awesome. Yeah. They are still going to get their teeth kicked in if they are not careful and specific and deliberate with their choices. And that's what they show up for.
Yes.
but like, do they have more fun? I don't think you do. I don't think you do have more fun if you've got like the character build that anticipates all the things. And like, they have more fun when I have anticipated those little outs that they have built and then have something that works around that anyway. Like when they are legit actually challenged and like, oh, I felt that one. Okay, yeah, I do have to make some specific choices in here instead of just walking through like one of those cat tractors that can just plow over anything without taking too much damage. But yeah, like with the prep of, okay, I see your character sheets, I see what your feats and skills and spells are. What can we do? Well, if you have resistance to acid damage, enjoy this cold spell, you know, as an example.
Yeah, it's a good discussion. I'm only curious because I don't really run high level. That certainly not that high level. And I've got to get, it's a table of 8. The 18th level, and I'm like, and we
bring
have 3
drinks,
hours.
folks. Bring a big cup to hydrate.
That's the thing. Well, that's what I'm saying is like we only have 3 hours, and so it's just like, to me, at some point, it just is a game of number go uppy, which just means, okay, we're going to be sitting at the table for a longer doing combat. Like that to me isn't more fun. So, I'm doing what I can to like put some little hooks in there to make it fun. But my instinct is like, if this is just for a gimmick, I don't know if it's the right gimmick. And by the way, I don't have a say on this. It's not a design for me. Like they're telling me you have 8 18th level players, and I'm like, okay, then I will
see that right there. That's why I incorporated a house rule of on any given attack, you can add a spell to embellish the whammy, or you can use a feat to embellish the whammy, but you cannot use both on the same attack. Because otherwise it is just going to be numbers go uppy and you're just stacking all these things on top of each other. And the thing is, by level 10, they have multiple attacks per round anyway. So they still get the enjoyment of like, I'm going to use a spell on this one and a useful feat on the other one. And they still have to choose rather than grocery list of damage I'm doing this round, which just bores me to tears.
Cool. That's interesting. All right. Yeah, I got to play higher level characters, but I will soon enough.
You're welcome to build a level 10 and see how you do in the Sladium. I'd love to see what you do with a violence-based character.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Amazing. So you made a point on the form you filled out for us of wanting to give encouragement to our audience to go after their dreams, and I wanted to make sure.
How cute!
You
How
did?
Cute of me. Good.
It's delightful. Like this is your opportunity to fire away if there is any unspoken nuggets of encouragement.
I mean, I don't know that there's a DM out there who wouldn't agree that like it's easier than you think. It's like the things that you think will be hard will not be hard. There are going to be some things that are harder than you think, but it's not what you can prep for. It's more mental things and like people management, I suppose. It's like you just have to get your but you know, when people sign up for the DM school, they're like, yeah, I could really use a brush up on rules, and I'm like, too bad, you're DMing right now. Like, go, you know, like, and
this is not rules review. This is technique.
Yes, and the rules I play that? Yeah, I'll play it. I know them like the back of my hand. But like, is that what makes it fun? It just isn't. So and you'll learn along the way. Like, there's nothing stopping. Sometimes it's even fun to go in and be like, what is that again? Oh, that's, you know, it's fun. It's fun to learn that together. So everyone comes in thinking they need help in one thing, and it's like, no, you just need to. The only thing you're missing is confidence and belief in yourself, actually. And you're the only one who can give yourself that. But start way before you're ready. And
this is how you get to ready.
Yeah, don't prepare to get ready to begin. Don't do that. Just do it. And we've already said so much about it. And you did such a great job, too, of giving people, permission. It really is... I really think DMing is such a gift, and the world needs more leaders, and DMing is such a natural way to be that leader in the world.
100%.
And the only thing else about leadership, it seems daunting, and the number one I think that a leader has only two jobs. One, accept that they are the leader and just be in that role. Just be like, yep, I'm the leader. Got it. I'm the leader. So be the DM, just show up as the DM. You'll be doing 90% of the work. And then two is make decisions. And that's it. But a lot of people don't like making decisions. So they want to get a consensus, or we have to wait until we have a quorum, or I want to see what everyone thinks about this. And it's like, unfortunately, if you're the leader, you just make decisions. But that's a D&D, that's a D&D thing for me too, because it's like, yeah, there are 3 doors. Behind every single one is adventure. You can't screw it up. But that's the same thing for a DM too. Like you're not going to screw it up. Choose something, make something up, say that this is how it goes. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I would, with your permission, I would embellish on what you've said about choosing to be a leader. And I would go a step further and like make a specific choice about what kind of leader you're going to be. In my own case, I am a dungeon maestro. It is my job to make sure the entire orchestra gets heard, so that the person that's, sucking up 90% of the oxygen in the room is not the only thing that we hear from, so that Argoblar the Timid also gets a chance to be heard, to be checked in with, to make choices that impact things, and like just making music with everybody, one section of the orchestra at a time.
I love that. Yeah, there's what you decide. It's also like the way, I said delight. You can just choose. It's a decision to be delightful. You just choose it. You just say, I'm doing this now. But that's the same thing for like what you stand for. Like if you stand for fun, if you stand for wonder, it's a switch. You just turn on the switch and go, I'm fun. I'm fun. Not I'm giving you fun. Not I'm making fun. I am fun, and therefore fun will be had. And you just decide. And it's that's harder. That's harder than it can, because sometimes you're in a group of new people and they're strangers, or it's at a con and you're like, oh, I don't know what they're going to even like. But it's leadership's so interesting in that way. I do think that your audience is a reflection of you, which is why I've found so many kindred spirits and folks who want to take my class, because it's like, oh, I see. Yeah, I see that imposter syndrome in you. I know her well, so. Yes, 1,000% agree. What kind of leader you get to be? It's amazing.
Yeah. I find that one of the ways to help those like stiff and unsure of themselves because they don't know each other, never played before, kind of things, I find that either by deliberately or just through example, building a safe space where none of their choices are going to get laughed at. No one's going to be ridiculing them for like taking too long or anything like that. But like they feel that like no matter what they choose is going to lead to something interesting and fun. That helps grease the wheels of the creativity of like, yeah, okay, I can say the stupid thing. And like, basically, I think at some point I say, like, don't worry about sounding ridiculous. We're all going to sound ridiculous. So take away that pressure.
That's great. Yeah, another way in is to ask yes or no questions at the beginning. So like, I think in this, describe the world. This is where we are. I think some of you are from this town and some of you are not. Raise your hand if you think you're from here. Oh, great. We have some, and some people are coming in and those are you guys. Okay, cool. Do you want to, and then you can expand on that. Like in this town, you guys are from here. So is there a role that you think you play in the society? But it's like giving them chocolate or vanilla instead of going, so how do y'all all be here right now? It's like, no, this is what I've imagined. Oh, and you think, as a paladin, you think I was also thinking that, and just going, helping them along the improv, almost like Mad Lib style. Like this is how we're going to get you in, has been really, I don't know. It's how I hesitate to say, I am in such a bubble. Like the people I play with are mostly performers and improvisers and very story coded, people. So it has, and I'm also, I think it helps that I'm a woman. Like there's not, or maybe, I don't know, maybe other people have had different, but I've had so many story forward people that it's hard for me to answer some questions when they're like, can I get advice on how to handle this sort of person? And I'm like, oh, the sort of person I've literally never interacted with. I don't know.
Because they behave differently around you. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know that they sound, that sounds hard. Maybe kick them out. Like me no likey. Yeah. Like, oh, actually, we're gonna take a picture. Can you step to the right and even can you go further? A little more. A little more. Yeah, exactly. Like,
perfect.
Just get them out. That sounds hard.
Oh man. It's been a delight. My cheeks hurt from smiling.
I know, same.
Amy, how can our listeners get in touch with you, and where can they support what you do?
Oh, amazing. You can mostly find me on my Instagram at Vorpahl Sword, and that is my real last name. It's Vorpahl. Plenty of other Vorpahls in America, actually, not playing D&D. And so that's Vorpahl Sword. And my Discord's hopping. You can find that at my Instagram too. And then if the Kickstarter's over, it's like wildly successful. I'm so proud of it. And if you want to late pledge on any level, we still have a lot of late pledges available.
Cool.
And you can get merch, or you can get a ticket, or you can just donate for reasons that you, I don't know, hold dear to yourself. But that's, if you just Google, she's got NPC Energy. Which, Casey, when I named the show, she's got non-player character energy, because I wanted it to be like, I want to be very clear what this is about. And more people in my life know what an NPC is. I don't even say in my life, people who don't play D&D, people who don't know video games. More people know what NPC is than they know what non-player character is. I think it's a term that the internet made Isn't that crazy? I thought I was doing a service, but people are like, I've literally been like, she's got non-player character energy. They're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, like NPCs, they're like, oh, an NPC. Oh, and I'm like, you knew NPC, but you didn't know what it stood for? Okay. But that's a real thing. That is
a paradox.
It surprised me. And I only learned it in the last month. So
makes sense though. It does make sense a little bit. Like there's a click in my brain of like, yeah, that's how people think now. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think it became popular. TikTok, I don't know, whatever. But that's out there. So I learned that, and now you know it too.
Hey, Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been I'm so glad to hear that. That's what we're for. What we're here for. And finally, to our audience, another great big thank you for sharing your precious time with us. If you feel it's been well spent, please share the joy of GMing with your friends who are looking to enjoy themselves. You can email your questions for me and our future guests to narrativefeatspodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like me to run a game for you or take my workshop on character voices, reach out on startplaying.games. Leave a review, rate the show, and follow us on Blue Sky, on TikTok, and YouTube at Narrative Feats or Sladium Games, wherever you get your podcasts. You can learn more about our work at sladiumgames.com. Don't forget to join our Discord. Links to everything in the doobly-doo. From all of us, I am Casey Jones. There are exciting things to come, my friends. I am delighted you're along for the ride. Thanks so much, and have a great day.